one thing I never understood about black people is if your grandmother told you she was Indian, what would make you think that she was lying? Like, what would possess you to think that your own grandmother, did your grandmother have a history of lying to you? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You would believe somebody you never met over your own flesh and blood? That just never sit right with me. In a system that has a history about not only lying, but colluding and plotting against black people. You would trust that system over your own flesh and blood? I don't know. Something about that gives uber colonized mind. I mean, overly colonized mind. Her grandmother has no reason to lie about her history or her heritage. Never have Native Americans, Indians been so revered in this country that black people would have to pretend to be them. Especially not back then. Your grandma told you around 2000, 1990 that you was Indian. You don't have no reason not to believe her. There wasn't no FBA spaces and like not saying these people are delusional, but there was no room for her to be making up lies like that. It just did not exist. I just think it's so crazy that everybody thinks that all of their grandparents are lying. Y'all all have the same story. Like all y'all saying, and my grandmother used to say we was Indian, and now all of y'all collectively don't believe them. And you all believe that all of your grandparents collectively lied? That's insane to me. Like, that's really an insane take. I'm gonna need y'all to sit with that, digest that, and ask yourself, what did your grandmother get out of lying to you about being Indian, where they used to kill colored folks for claiming Indian? Sit with that.
Hey y'all, this is Ariel Jillian. Welcome back to my channel. To my Black Americans, did your grandmama tell you we're Indian? Well, we're gonna look at some videos and we're gonna debunk the myth that all of our grandparents and our great-grandparents were lying. Because why would our grandparents lie to us? Why? So let's look at these videos and I'll be back with some commentary and some of my family photos.
I just realized that saying is true. We literally were exiled out of our own land and we are still here on it. We were exiled out of a place that we are still at. They exiled us by paper genocide, and bloodshed. Yes, tears as well. They didn't exile us physically. They exiled us mentally. All they did was flip the maps and change the names of everything. And Donald Trump proved that it's that easy, because it said Gulf of America that fast. We have been exiled out of our own ish. I'm trying not to cuss so much, because some of y'all, I forgot some of y'all still super holy, you know, and not realizing what's really going on. And, you know, I'm just going to take baby steps with you like the Most High told me to. Because you're going to say I'm being blasphemous. Some of you are going to say I'm being very, you know, derogatory or vulgar, you know, that's not of God, whatever y'all going to say. And at this point, I don't care. I just need to get the point across to whoever is going to get the point, period. And I don't care if it's you or not you. Like, y'all gotta understand and understand at this point. Ain't no more understanding going on. Y'all have to start to learn what the term understand means. It might not be something you can find in the dictionary, but you have to use your ancestral memory. What do that term really mean? You look at everything today, turn it backwards. That's how it's supposed to be. You don't understand nothing. You don't stand under nobody's authority. You understand what they are saying, which means that you comprehend, you get it, okay? But when you say, I understand, you're literally telling them, yeah, I stand under your authority. Go ahead and do what you want to do to me. So since we had so much understanding, we literally lost everything that way. That's how we got exiled off of our own land, because this ain't our country, but this is our land. Please know the difference. This ain't our country, but this is our land. Hello, y'all with me? This ain't our country, but this is our land. Because I also had to ask myself, why does the whole world hate us? Why does everybody try to come here, but they can't stand us? Critical thinking.
African Americans come from Africa.
We're not African
African Americans.
We all didn't come from.
But then
we're
we have
also
Native
indigenous here too.
How is that?
Okay. Well, look, first let me do this. We're not here to discuss what happened before 1776. That's what we're trying to tell you. You're having a different battle, and we're saying you're talking to the wrong people. We're talking to the United States government, not the colonies, Nothing that occurred. I heard you. We're getting to the Aboriginal. Your discussion should not be directed at us. You should go to the United States government as we are doing. So why are you here talking to us about being Aboriginals? Hold on. We also claim Aboriginals. My grandfather was a Cherokee. If you really know your history, you know about the $5 Indians, and you read when the so-called explorers and Christopher Colon, which isn't even his real name, when he came here and when they came here, they said there were very dark-skinned people running around. It's all in history books. All of the casinos right now in the United States government just told the Indian tribes, if you keep discriminating against the black descendants of indigenous people, we're cutting your funding. So this
Debunking the Slave Trade, Part 843, the Geechee Gullah Edition. Contrary to popular belief, the Geechee Gullah culture did not originate from African slaves. Instead, it originated from indigenous American warriors who fought against the colonists and freed other indigenous American slaves. The indigenous American slaves that escaped further south into places like Florida became known as the Seminole Indians, and the ones that escaped to the places like the Caribbean and Central America became known as the Maroons. And that's why the Gullah culture has such a similar culture to that of those in the Caribbean. Most of the Geechee Gullah people in Charleston are descendants of the Indian tribes that fought in the events known as the Seminole Wars, the Yamasee Wars, and the Gullah Wars. So if you Geechee Gullah and you from Charleston, most likely you descend from one of these Native American tribes such as the Akabee, the Shakora, the Kiowa, the Wando, the Edisto, or like my family, the Edawan. If you know what tribe your family descend from, leave it down in the comments below for me. The African slaves had very little influence on the Geechee Gullah culture, and the reason why we retained a little bit more of our culture than other black people in America is because we come from a people that refuse to assimilate. The Geechee Gullah culture is indigenous to America, and that's the gorilla in the room, big homie. Peace.
One of the things I've always asserted is that if we were so recently from Africa, we would hold traditions way more than just like a hinting. For example, Native Americans, right, who were on the Dawes Roll, and, you know, I think it's well established at this point that these people paid to be a part of tribes, right? And if you know anything about the government, you know that if the government is sanctioning something, there's probably some lies involved. All right, not probably, always some lies involved. This government has done nothing to actually help move disenfranchised people forward. Actually, they disenfranchise people. So if they're franchising people, there's something that supports the regime. Like, let's just get really real, right? Like, there's no way that the U.S. government is going to sanction anybody who is valid. You know what I mean? Like, it's a terrorist nation. We've been occupied by a terrorist group that's created the corporation that is the United States. At any rate, all right, but if you look at Native Americans and you look at Turkish, Siberian people, they have, not only do they look, like if I put two people, you wouldn't be able to tell which is which. That's number one. Number two, right? But that's like flattening that type of culture, that phenotype, which they do with black folks all the time. We don't want to flatten blackness because obviously there are black people all over the world. But if you put them in their traditional habitat, traditional TP, customs, ceremonial, it is literally like they came here yesterday, which is basically the truth. But like came here yesterday, right? And now if you go to any sort of Google, which Google has occupied its own, it's a tool of propaganda. So when people are like Google it, it's like, yes, Google's free, but it's also propaganda. So you've got to use your discernment. But that's a different conversation. At any rate, if you see any images, you see that it's the same. They look the same. Like, you can barely tell them apart. And you really can't, honestly, outside of like the caption. This is in Siberia, modern day, traditional, ceremonial, blah, blah, blah. You would imagine if we were from, besides the fact that there's so many reasons why it's very clear that we're not from Africa, but there would be customs, not just fleeting sort of like similarities. Like, oh, we got the same meal. Like, I've been all over the world, and there are things that I've just picked up from just visiting other countries
that I do, right, or that I could do because I was there, and I'm like, oh, I really love the way that you know, like the aperitifs after dinner. I'm gonna do that, right? If it resonates with me, then yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm French, just because, you know, I might cook a similar meal because I've shared, you know, broken bread with people from other countries. It's the traditions. We as Black Americans have traditions that are Black American, period, and ways of doing things and saying things that are not like anywhere else. It's like here. It's like here. There's this Black creator on here that talks about how, and I need to give him a listen, because anytime somebody triggers me, anytime anything triggers me, that's work. That's where you have work to do. But anyway, he talks about like how we basically got all of our culture from white people. He's a bot. He's like a NPC, weird, pandering towards his oppressors. But he's not, you know, even a fucking broken clock is right twice a day, every day. So you don't want to necessarily ignore everything people say. You want to find out if there's a thread of truth, especially if something they're saying annoys you. So there has been cross-contamination, one would say, or integration in certain ways with our traditions amongst the world, where we are worldly people, and many Black Americans, because of the immigration of the colonizers, we in our welcoming, you know, and opening in certain ways. There's certain things that we've definitely picked up from other people, because like sharing culture is exciting and it's fun, but we are so not like, I mean, and Africa is a continent. We're so not like Nigerians. We're so not like Ghanaians. We're so not like, you know what I mean? Like and I grew up around Africans in New York City, and we are not, there's certain things that we have in common, but I have that in common with a bunch of white folks too. Like, I mean, you know, we're humans. So of course we're gonna have certain things in common, but we gotta think about traditions and how we live and how we think and what has been passed down. I've grown up, you know, and I'm a Gen Xer. My great grandmother told my mother that we were Indian. My grandmother has told us that we're Indian. My grandmother on my dad's side. You know, and I've always known that I was from here. And I've done a lot of past life regressions and so forth and so on. Not one has been in Africa. I've been to Africa. I've been to South Africa, and I remember getting to South Africa and I'm psychic, so and all the clairs, and I, you know, and I'm in South Africa, and I was like, oh yeah, this is not your land. I mean, I want to visit and travel because travel's great, but there's nothing. And for some, it resonates. And I think that there's a level where, you know, if you're ignoring the fact that when we're talking about this discussion, this is a human discussion. This is not I mean, it's spiritual as well. But whenever, you know, if you understand reincarnation, you can be all manner of people from all over the world. But we're talking specifically this history of Black Americans and why we're the only peoples that have been told that we're not from where we are, and that we have to claim a place that we, even if it were true, haven't been to in hundreds of years. Everybody else can be American who's been here. Sure, somebody comes here, you know, one generation ago, they're American, but we have to be, I love that we're waking up. I love that we're doing our genealogy. I mean, I've done my genealogy. I can go back before 1700s. There's no Africa, and there are no stories about Africa. You know, additionally, I want to know if there's anybody from Africa, all the places that we were supposedly, you know, the millions were sold off from, if there's stories of like, it's only a few hundred years ago, guys, you know, where are your family stories of the whole towns that were snatched up? You know, like none of it, the math isn't mathing, guys, and the gig is up. And the truth is, the reason this has happened is because we have land rights. We're prisoners of war. We have land rights. And once we figure that out, it's not about reparations at all. It's about, you know, figuring out how this destiny swap happened and how to correct it, because we're in the Great Awakening, and it's also like topsy-turvy land. We're upside down land, and it's not about taking people out of their houses and doing a genocide or doing any sort of craziness like that. This is about recognizing, like, oh, we've got to figure this out. Like, the books have been cooked. They were baked. You know what I mean? There's fraud, and with that, we have to correct that fraud, and that's what we're heading towards. The fraud is being corrected. So, happy Monday.
Just an American Indian enjoying his homeland while these are descendants of pilgrims and colonizers are enjoying my homelands. These guys, they benefit off my homeland more than my own people.
We ain't in Asia.
They get to live their white privileged life, the best life that they can live on genocide land. My people's fucking blood.
Y'all get paid every month.
These guys are from a fucking different country. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
you
an
are.
American Indian. I'm Scott Pukani. Straight up facts. My homeland. Land back all day, every day. Land back, right, guys?
Land back.
My people's fucking
My
land,
people.
right? No, we land back, right? It's been paid for. Oh, it's been paid for? Why are you leaving it? Because races like you still exist, bro, in my homeland. My country. People like me had to get scalped for you motherfuckers to be here in my homeland. My country. You don't even know us. It's the truth. You can't even admit. Let me hear land back, bro.
It's been paid for, huh?
Watch the natives that's doing these tribal dances. You can tell that they learn it using what's called the 1-2 step method, which is the same way you teach the hustle. It's the same way you teach square dancing. And every one of their moves is a scripted move because they learned how to do it. It's not natural to them. It's a learned behavior. But when you see them Crips sea walking and them Bloods be walking, then you know that's not scripted. It's coming from their soul. It's their culture being expressed in tribal dance. In Detroit, they jitting. You know, in the South, they gigging. But they all got that fancy footwork. The tribal traditional dances that's coming forth because the DNA can't conceal who you are.
New Orleans second lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
That's why the Siberians and Mongoloids be mad when we claim our indigenous culture.
Native Americans that are Siberian hate black folks. And
Everybody got a name that nigga.
But all they don't understand that they're black Indians. I met in the casino. I met black Cree Indians. These dudes were hanging with me speaking Cree. I was like, what the fuck? They were like, oh no, we're Cree. They were speaking Cree. The Indians are black. Most of them are black. There's the Siberian ones that look Mexican-ish, who came from the Bering Strait. But then their dances, I just found this, that their dances are from the black folks. The shit they're doing, black Indians.
Yeah.
This shit is coming out, man.
Everyone that moved here, literally, they tell you not to go to inner cities. Like,
don't go to inner city means black.
Yeah, exactly.
Did y'all hear that? One of them on a reservation said they told them to stay away from the indigenous tribes in the inner city. The original tribes. We ain't gonna say native, because those are Native Americans. They're native. They was born here. We've been here for centuries. And people think it's racist when you say it's $5 Indian, but that was a Dawes Roll Act where they were paying $5 to sign up to be Native Americans. This is not the Dawes Roll Act. You can go look it up. And that was only one. How did they bring blacks to America when black Indians were already here in America? Explain it. The only reason why I say get away from the Indian word and stuff like that, because this is all they terms. I'd rather say originals or the origines, bro. Like,
My mother's full-blooded Cherokee. My grandfather is from Portugal, Spain. He's full-blooded Portuguese. So, to me, knowing spirituality and truth, 3/4 of the earth are nothing but black people. When you go to China, they're black. When you go to Russia, when you go to Japan, when you go to Cairo, they're nothing. Because how do I know this? Because I come from a military law enforcement family. And you've actually traveled to different places. Well, my family also have lived, and plus globally in different countries. And I know this for a fact. Now, when they do videos that they pump over here in America, they show the lighter ones.
So I keep hearing that the Cherokee Nation has finally recognized black people as Indian. I got one thing to say to that. We don't give a shit. Welcome to the cookout. Now y'all want to recognize us. Nobody cares about y'all recognition. Why? Because y'all aren't even indigenous. So why would we care about the recognition from somebody that stole the titles from us? That's like breaking into somebody's house and recognizing them as the owner, but still being like, oh, I'm gonna stay here. No, get your ass up out. Get out. It's crazy that we have to explain to the world that these people who resemble Asians are actually Asian, not Native American. I keep having to explain to people, these people came from the Manila Galleon slave port in Manila, Asia, okay? You guys want to talk so much about the transatlantic slave trade. Why don't you ever talk about the trans-Pacific slave trade? Where Spain literally conquered parts of Asia and sent the Asian Slavs to Mexico, aka New Spain, because Spain conquered Mexico around that same time. You see, but the difference is These Asian immigrants were allowed to legally change their name from Asian immigrants to Indians, legally giving them right to lands and reparations that belong to us. So I don't care how long I get crucified. I don't care how many people come with name calling and this and that. I'm going to keep standing 10 toes down for my people. And you ain't never, ever got to question that. Welcome to the cookout.
So it's Black History Month, and I found out that I'm Indigenous or Native American or Indian American on both sides of my family. Man, I've been digging since then. I got some genealogy results. I'm doing some back work myself. I'm cooking over here. But the things that I'm finding out is crazy. So this morning I spoke with a couple of the tribes, of the 5 tribes. You know, they got Chickasaw, Choctaw, Seminole, Creek, and they got Cherokee, most popular. And these tribes have loopholes and things that you have to jump through to say, hey, I'm one of y'all, give me that paper. Or hey, I'm one of y'all, give me that identification. I ain't know about that. I get the call and I'm on the phone with one guy from one of the tribes. I ain't even gonna say which tribe it is, but you was very, very helpful, bro. Thank you, because some people was acting like they was irritated with me over the phone for asking them to look up my roll number. By the way, if your great-great-grandparents or if your grandparents have something called a Dow roll number, they are locked in. Use that Dow roll number, connect that to their name, their last names, and you guys will find the people that you need to find in your family tree to say, hey, I'm half blood this, or hey, my great-great-grandma was full blood that. And once you see somebody that's actually in the bloodline, it doesn't even matter no more. Now you just need birth certificates matching them up to you. But anyways, the dude, he on the phone, he's like, yeah, the thing is, you need to, when we do your genealogy, because he didn't even know I had my own genealogy. He didn't even know I was prepared really like that. But he was like, when we do your genealogy, if you don't have family that lived in Oklahoma between this time, they won't count, even if they are Indians. So y'all mean to tell me that America played us like that? They basically said, hey, we building a new treaty, we building a new trust, and we need y'all Native Americans to get along with it. Most of the Native Americans said, nah, we don't do that trust. We got our own trust. We got our own land. They was like, all right, cool. So then they went to these five nations, these 5 Indian clans, and these 5 Indian clans said, okay, we'll do it. So they said, all right, we need y'all to move to Oklahoma. We're going to sit y'all on this land for a little minute. We're going to hook y'all up. We just need y'all to sit there. We're going to put this land in the trust, and after a while, we're going to give it to y'all with some paper. Not only did they give it to them with some paper, but they came back and said, hey, y'all want these extra black people? They said, they looked at the black people, they said, hey, that my cousin and them. That my cousin clan. He said, you want them or not? They said, yeah, give them to us. So now we got Indians owning Indians. Ain't that some shit? But anyways, if your family did not register for this Dow list or for this Indian list, for this Cherokee Dow or however many lists there are, if they were not in the census living with proof of living in Oklahoma around this time, they can't even identify to be these 5 Indian tribes. That's why we now have all these other Indian tribes that are now being recognized, which they should be because they always were. They ain't bite the bullet. So bro on the phone pressing me about that. He like, yeah, if you ain't had nobody living in Oklahoma, it don't even matter, buddy. Like it might be curtains. Like I'm like, damn, I don't know. Shit, I'm from Georgia. Shit, I don't know. Like I did the research. Man, we did have some people out there, man. That my pawpaw and them. They did. Now, I don't know what Pawpaw and them was doing up there in Oklahoma and Dayway. I got the districts too. We got that paperwork. But man, this is just interesting to me because it's not even like I'm that big prone on trying to say I'm an American Indian. Like, bro, I don't care about that, bro. I don't care, bro. I just wanted to know my lineage. I just wanted to know who my soul tribe and my elders were. And now I learned something. And not only that, that same grandparent that I'm talking about had 17 kids, 15 kids. So that means I got approximately 300 to 400 cousins that could qualify to be Native Indians in this country. Tap in with me, y'all. Tap in. I'm going to share some more with y'all later on. But man, life is interesting. Anyways, I'm just doing this for entertainment purposes. I'm not doing the searches for anybody. I can't even recommend y'all somebody to do your genealogy yet. I may have a couple of people to recommend, but we're gonna hold off because It's important, man. You don't want nobody playing with your shit. Like, some people were charging ridiculous amounts of money for this information just for them to do some ancestries. You don't want it like that. You want that real deal like I wanted it. But I'm also digging on top of it. So anyways, next step is forming a plan with my family members, bro. If we family, holla at me. If your last name Jackson, you from Georgia, you from Cincinnati, your last name Jackson, and you know the other Jacksons, you know the ones in relations, I shouldn't even have said that. I ain't about to start this video over though. Yeah, y'all holla at me, man. I'm out.
So I left the whole roll call on here because this is important. A lot of people have us thinking that Black Americans' last names came from slave owners, but that's just not true. That is not true. Look at these surnames and see if you can find one of your last names. I found all of my last names: Smith, Jones, and my mother's maiden name was Cornelius, and I saw corn in there. That's definitely South Carolina last name. So the myth that our Black American last names came from slave owners is just not true. So look at this roll call, see if you can find some of your ancestors, because I found my last names and a lot of other last names. Did you guys see an Obama anywhere? Let me know if you see an Obama anywhere, because no. That is not our people. He is not one of us.
As the American Indian woman, the ley lines are connected to our blood. The ley lines are our veins. So we need to be out here healing nature, right? If we know, oh, the American woman is God, we're God, we have the womb, right? Y'all came from our womb, y'all came from our coochie, right? We need to be in nature. Why is so many women that look like me that don't even be in nature? You're supposed to be in nature, meditating, manifesting, healing, pureness on the earth, because understand that we are connected to the earth, right? We are, and see, if you know that you got that original mitochondria and that you connected to mommy water and you connected to the earth because you see it in your dream world. It happens in the dream world. The true initiation is in the astral realm, not in the physical world. Nobody in this physical world can initiate you to have that connection to mommy water, to have that connection with the earth and the womb. But first, it takes a certain level of healing and loving yourself. You have to first love yourself, right? In order to even connect to the earth. So once you start loving yourself, you will start to love everything around you. And you have to understand, like I said, the ley lines are our blood. The ley lines are our fucking nervous system. So we have to be out here grounding, not on concrete. Put your feet into water. Put your feet into the grass. You can't ground on something that's not nature. Even right now, I'm stepping on wood. I have wood in my floor. You can even ground on wood, right? Anything that comes from nature, right? So we need to be grounding and meditating and putting our hands on our wombs and manifesting pureness, manifesting having a heart as light as a feather, and watching. You have to pay attention. Why do y'all think everybody copies us? Caucasian gay men, African women, Asian women, right? Every gay man in the world. Who do they mimic? They mimic the indigenous, aka also known as black. We know that's false. The indigenous copper-toned American woman. The whole nation follows us. So picture if we set a better example and was to heal. We are the true leaders. We are the true teachers. This is why our children are sick. Y'all been programmed with a Caucasian mentality, the patriarch mentality that the man is supposed to lead. The man is supposed to protect. You're supposed to lead with your womb, but you can't lead with your womb if you're not healing. You can't teach them babies if you're not healing. This is why everything in nature follows the mother and the man protects. We're out of tune with our natural self. This is why we had animals. We created the animals because we knew when we hit our lowest, they would remind us who we are and what we need to tap back into. So the simple fact that they have our women so programmed into consumerism, the money has 72 demonic forces on it, and they got most of our women programmed and possessed. Most of our women are doing things for money. They're not doing it for love. And if you're operating out of money, you're operating out of a state of fear, and you can't operate out of fear and love at the same time. This is why it's important for us to go into nature and heal these ley lines, heal the earth by meditating and healing ourselves first.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm gonna show you some of my pictures. This is my grandmother, Catherine, and she raised us really well. She always instilled in us that we were of Cherokee Indian, even when it was hard to, because there was a lot of propaganda going on between the 90s and the 2000s and the 2020s, to where it was hard for a lot of our people to even say that they were Indian. So I really appreciate her for instilling that in us. And also my great uncle here, this was my grandmother's husband's brother, which they came from a big family of 11. And so when I went to go visit him before he died, rest in peace, he spread a lot of the knowledge about our indigenous heritage as well. And even my cousin, he was wearing his Hebrew Israelite shirt too. And you know, it all connects with us because Israelites is a more ancient name, right? But American Indian is a more recent kind of name for our people. And so, you know, it's just really cool to connect with family and to really listen to them and not listen to our government and not listen to our educational system or the TV. I know TV is up there and you think everything that's on the big screen is correct, but it's not. And it's really been propaganda for like the last like 60 years. And so it's just time for us to wake up to our roots and really listen to our ancestors and listen to those people that really know our history, and to do our genealogy, not DNA tests, but our genealogy. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Ariel Jillian, and I'll see you guys in another one.